Today, friends, family, and state leaders gathered to honor the life of State Senator Gary Stubblefield. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman was there and has more on the legacy Senator Stubblefield leaves behind.
God loved me enough, and my earthly father loved me enough that he gave me that peace. He gave me that peace to know he's got him, and everything's okay.
At his funeral, Senator Gary Stubblefield's daughter, Amber Sullivan, reflected on the faith and love that defined her father's life.
And he said, I want you to do something for me. He said, I want you to go back and I want you to tell everyone I love, and even the ones that don't love me.
Gary Stubblefield's son, Joshua, was emotional speaking about his father, but shared memories that he'll have forever.
Let me tell you about a hero of mine. He's not the kind of hero that you see in the movies with all kinds of superpowers, but a real life hero made of flesh and blood like you and me. He was mowing the yard one evening with a push mower while barefoot, and somehow slipped his foot under the mower and cut off his toe. That toe was never found. Those were the same 2 legs that walked the halls of the Capitol building to try to provide the best for the people of his district and the entire state of Arkansas.
And wait till you see my brand new home.
Gary fought the fight like I've never seen anyone else fought the fight.
Pastor Rob Shelton has known Senator Stubblefield since high school and says his passion for serving others will be remembered.
He was wiser than he let on. He had this kind of aw shucks thing, but he was wiser than he let on. If we would have went to the graduating class of 1969 upon graduation that night and said, hey Gary, you think in 2025 you will be a senator from the state of Arkansas, and ask him what he would have thought, he would have never seen this. Every time we call Gary, it's because we want something. We got to get something done, and who else we're going to call but Gary to get it done.
In Charleston, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.
You can watch today's full service from Charleston on our 5 News Plus app. You can download 5 News Plus for your free to your smart TV device and watch it on demand. Well, turning now to the forecast, here's a live look in downtown Fayetteville. Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert has the first check of the forecast. And Scott, I was at a 5K in Rogers this morning, and boy, it was a hot one.
It was a warm day out there today, and overnight tonight we're only going to be dropping down into the upper 60s. We'll have some low 70s out there. You probably felt that humidity today, didn't you? Well, you're going to feel it even early tomorrow morning. Maybe you're going to try to beat that heat first thing. These numbers probably going to feel a little bit warmer when we factor in that humidity. Overall, Sunday's going to look like this. Big difference from tomorrow versus today. We're going to have a few more clouds with us. Those clouds don't really do a whole lot in keeping us cool. In fact, we'll start off the day 7 a.m. Maybe you have an early morning church service, 67 degrees. By lunchtime, heading to grandma's house, or maybe the Western Sizzlin', 87 for lunchtime temperatures. Still going to crack into the 90s before starting to slowly drop down to 89 under a partly to mostly cloudy sky throughout the day. In the River Valley, low 70s out that front door early in the morning, near 90 by lunchtime. And by 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, we're still going to be in the low 90s. There is some cooler weather tracking our direction. I'll let you know when right here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Scott. Well, developing tonight, police in North Little Rock are still investigating last night's shooting at the North Little Rock Benton football game. It happened around 8:15, but some details like where the bullet came from are still unclear. In a post from the North Little Rock School District, officials say that the shooting happened outside of the stadium on the visitor side. But the school officials with Benton say it was in the stadium bleachers. We do know that the victim is a Benton parent and sustained what authorities are calling non-life-threatening injuries. It's something that left lots of fans and players in shock as the investigation continues. Carter Thweet spoke to some of those at the game and got their reactions after they learned about the shooting.
We're excited to get our first win of the season.
All we were just thinking about is football, 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 football.
For senior tight end Merrick Rourke and junior right guard Jimmy Morales, Friday's game against North Little Rock couldn't have started better. Coming off a loss to Bryant, the team was up big at halftime, playing like they knew they could, says senior wide receiver Will Carter.
We had a good week leading up to it at practice, and we just felt confident in each other.
But at halftime, everything changed. It's still being investigated whether the shot that struck a Benton fan originated inside or outside the stadium. But that didn't change much for Merrick's mother, Julie.
We just heard someone behind us say someone's been shot, and we turned around and just instinctively, I guess, got up and started moving toward the exit.
But Julie says she didn't want to leave her son or the other players who had been in the locker room hallway underneath the bleachers hearing from Coach.
We're playing a good game. We need to keep our intensity up. And then the corner of my eye, through the fence, I see lights and sirens, police cars driving by. I'm like, something bad's happening for sure. The coaches were talking, and then we started hearing people say, get in the locker room, get in the locker room. So all the coaches kind of just started, pushing us into the locker room, like not really knowing what's going on. The thing is, we didn't hear any gunshots, so we didn't know what was happening at the time. And when we got in the locker room, other people came in the locker room with us too, like cheerleaders, they were crying.
After a few minutes, coaches were able to explain what had happened.
We're just kids trying to have fun, doing the sport we love. I mean, it's just not really something you expect.
It's crazy, it's scary, it's baffling in my head. I couldn't really believe it at first that there was a shooting, because it's like, I'd never expect this to happen here.
Carter says what the team did next was inspiring to see. Julie Rourke says something similar.
It's kind of awesome to see in the locker room, you just had groups of guys coming together just praying.
Administration and coaches were super organized and took care of our kids with just the utmost responsibility and care. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for that as a parent.
As for the game, it goes down as a win for Benton, who was leading the game at 24-7 when it was canceled. Well, in eastern Oklahoma, the manhunt continues for a person of interest suspected in killing his parents. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is looking for 35-year-old Jeffrey Scott Baker. Deputies were called to a home in Clayton where they found an elderly man and woman dead. Baker is believed to be either in Pushmataha or LaFleur counties. Authorities say he may be driving the couple's gray Dodge Caravan with Oklahoma tags and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone who knows where Baker may be is asked to call the OSBI. Also developing today, President Trump says Memphis will be his administration's next crackdown on crime. The National Guard will be heading to Tennessee's second biggest city. President Trump says his call for federal forces in Memphis came after speaking to Union Pacific CEO Jim Venna, who used to work in the city. So far, there's no official date set for sending troops to Memphis, but in a social media post, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee says he'll be working out the details with the Trump White House.
I'm not happy about the National Guard. I am looking forward to trying to find ways to invest in the things that we're already doing to address crime in our city.
The National Guard was called to Memphis twice in the past six decades. Once after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and 10 years later after the city's police and firefighters unions went on strike. Well, in Rogers today, the Rogers and Lowell Chamber put on their annual showcase of the different variety of cultures within the community. This took place at the NWA Community Showcase in downtown Rogers. Local businesses sold an array of products from bracelets to delicious meals at vendor booths. People got to listen to live performances and show off their dance moves. It's all a part of a goal to get people to experience cultures different from the ones they're used to.
And this is just a little bit of a taste of what these cultures that are represented in our community have to offer, right? Because that's what our community is about, getting us all together, having an opportunity to interact with each other, right? Start meeting your neighbors and start building those great relationships.
Kids also got to shop at a children's entrepreneur market and learn some skills by selling their own products. Well, if you saw a bunch of motorcyclists going through the area today, you may have noticed they were all women. The largest female traveling motorcycle parade in the country had its annual event in Rogers for the first time. Ladies in Leather was founded 7 years ago by Amber Cohen. She says she created it to give female motorcyclists riders a sense of community. Cohen says she was expecting 450 to 550 riders with all different levels of riding experience.
We've got mother-daughters riding together. We've got mother-daughter and grandmothers coming together. We give awards for our oldest passenger. Right now, we've got women in their 90s that are on the backs of these bikes. We give awards for oldest rider. We give award for youngest rider. We've got some teenagers out here.
Well, not only does the event showcase unity in the community, it benefits a local food bank as well. This year, the organization chose the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank as its recipient. They also held a blood drive to benefit the Blood Center of the Ozarks. Well, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. For men, prostate health no longer means an uncomfortable exam. A simple blood test can now spot early warning signs. For many men, the thought of prostate health brings to mind a reluctant visit to the doctor and the discomfort of a physical exam. But Dr. Tim Langford, a urology specialist with UAMS, says times have changed and now men can screen for prostate cancer with a simple blood test called a PSA.
I think most men are afraid of is the prostate exam. It's not so much the blood work. And to be honest, the prostate exam is not near as important. In fact, we're not even highlighting it during prostate cancer screening now.
PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen. The blood test reveals a man's current PSA number. That number tells a doctor how much prostate-specific antigen is in a man's blood. Dr. Langford says men with no risk factors should begin getting a PSA test at age 50 and be looking for a number that starts around 0.
Generally, a normal PSA is felt to be 0 to 4. If it's elevated, that does not mean that you have prostate cancer. In fact, for men with an elevated PSA, if you biopsied all of them, 75% of the biopsies would be negative.